Hey learners, welcome to this video on the theory of centrifugation. For this video, we will talk about the forces acting during centrifugation and the velocity of sedimenting particles. So let's get to it. Imagine a vat of honey. An unfiltered vat of honey will contain really minute particles of pollen originating from plants that the bee might have visited while collecting nectar. Now, if someone were to tell you to separate this pollen from the honey, you'll be like, what? Can it even be done? In fact, it's a really easy feat. What you need to do is you need to make a solution of honey in water, and then you'll observe that these particles of pollen will be floating in water. To separate this pollen from the honey, you need to carry out a method of sedimentation, which can be achieved in two ways. One is the traditional method, whereby you allow the solution to stand undisturbed for a few hours and you let gravity do its work. You'll see that due to the force of gravity, all the particles of pollen will come and collect at the base of the tube. And this is the classical method, which is quite tedious and may take you somewhere ranging from a few hours to a few days. However, if you were to achieve this in a matter of a few minutes, you'll carry out a process known as centrifugation, for which you require a centrifuge. But a centrifuge is nothing but a box which contains an axle. And mounted on this axle is a disc-shaped rotor which contains spaces for you to keep your samples in tubes. Now, we are just drawing for the sake of representation here a rotor along with two tubes containing your honey solution. So, this axle is then connected to a motor which allows the axle to spin, and due to the spinning action, the tubes will also spin along with the rotor. Now let me just go ahead and draw a top view for this. You have your rotor here, which is mounted on the axle, and let's assume that you have your tube containing the honey solution, in which your pollen right now occupies a space A. As your tube moves, due to the spinning action of the rotor, let's assume it moves from here to here, and you'll see that gradually as the tube moves, your pollen has shifted more towards the base of the tube at position B. And why this happens is because of the spinning action, the pollen experiences forces that allow it to acquire a velocity towards the base of the tube, and ultimately after a few spins your pollen will come and get collected at the base of the tube, forming a pellet. So we are seeing two things here. The first thing is the force, the different variety of forces that act upon the pollen and push it towards the base of the tube, forming the pellet. And the second one is the velocity with which this happens. So let's assume that this is your path of rotation or spinning, and this here is your axis of rotation. And also, capital R is the distance from the center of rotation, that is the axis of rotation, to your pollen. And you have your tube here which contains your honey solution, inside which you have the pollen. Alright, so there are three major forces that are acting on the pollen which we need to consider. The first one is the centrifugal force, or Fc, which acts in the opposite direction to the center of rotation. The two forces that oppose this force Fc are Fb, which is the buoyant force, and Ff, which is the frictional force or the frictional drag. Now, as you increase the RPM, which is the revolutions per minute, you increase Fc in a proportion, and because of the increase in Fc, you'll reach a time when Fc completely balances out the sum of Fb plus Ff, and this is the time when the particle acquires something known as terminal velocity, and over here we are representing that by the symbol V. And when this happens, there is no net angular acceleration, no angular acceleration being experienced by the particle. It acquires this terminal velocity and then moves with this velocity towards the base of the tube and gets settled to form the pellet. And it is this velocity for which we want to find the expression. So what we need to do is we need to substitute for the expression of all the three different forces in this equation and then derive an expression for V. So how can you represent centrifugal force? Well, any force is mass into acceleration, and since this is a spinning action that we are considering, we'll consider the angular acceleration. And the mass of the pollen, well, pollen is really small, and to determine the mass of a single pollen is not possible. In fact, you cannot sensitively determine the mass of a single pollen. There are no real instruments that would determine that mass for you accurately. But what you can do is you can calculate the density of a bunch of pollen and then multiply that by V, that is the volume of the pollen. So let's consider that your pollen is spherical and it has a radius small r. So the volume of the pollen would be 4 by 3 pi r cube, which is the volume of the sphere, into you have the density of the pollen into the angular acceleration, which is given by omega square r, where r is the radial distance of the pollen from the center of rotation and omega is the angular acceleration. This is the centrifugal force, which is equal to the buoyant force, which again is given by the volume of the solution that is replaced, that is 4 by 3 pi r cube, into the density of the solvent or the solution, which is the honey solution, into the angular acceleration. This expression comes from Archimedes' principle, and then you add this to the expression for the frictional force, which is 6 pi eta rv. Now eta is the frictional coefficient, small r is your radius of the pellet, radius of your pollen, and v is the terminal velocity which we want to calculate. So in this equation, we make V the subject of the formula. If we do that, we'll see that V equals 2 by 9 delta rho omega square r into r square upon eta. You'll find this expression in a lot of books that talk about centrifugation and the velocity of particles when they are settling. And you'll come to see that V depends upon delta rho, that is the difference between the densities of the pollen and the solution. It depends upon omega square r, that is your angular velocity, and it depends upon the radial distance of the particle from the axis of rotation. So basically it depends upon the radius of your rotor, or the size of the rotor. Then it depends upon r square, which is basically the radius r, the radius of the particle, so it depends upon the size of the particle. And it depends upon eta, that is the frictional coefficient of the solvent. So if you change any of these physical properties, you would be essentially changing V. Another thing that I would like to mention here is that in this expression, omega square r, which is the angular acceleration, is really important. You'll see that in a few places, omega square r is replaced by g, that is the acceleration due to gravity, and this is valid only when you're considering sedimentation under gravity, that is the classical or traditional method of sedimentation. But in case you're considering sedimentation in a centrifuge or by spinning or rotation in any way, in that case you need to replace g with the angular acceleration.